Students, now coming to page number 11. At the beginning you can see an orange box in which information about Justice Mahadev Govind Ranade is given. He was a social worker, he was an advocate, he was a writer. He wrote a book on the Maratha Empire, The Rise of Maratha Power. According to him, in the book he has written that the Maratha power did not come into force all of a sudden, just like a forest fire. You know, the fire in the forest spreads very fast. So he said that this was not like a forest fire. After a prolonged period, prolonged means long, very long period of the British rule and the Mughal rule made the people unhappy because of their cruelty, because of their way of ruling, and slowly the discontent, the dissatisfaction among the people increased, and then they thought of having their own rule, that is the Swaraj, and this is how the Maratha power came into force. Next we have V.K. Rajwade, who is also a well-known writer, especially in Marathi, and he is more famous for writing in varied subjects. His subjects are full of variety, different subjects like history. He has written on history, but he has also written on linguistics. Linguistics means about languages. He has made a deep study on the languages, which was the first language, which language came after that, and how the language changes from one place to another. So making a deep study on that. For example, if you have a language Marathi, you know that in Bombay Marathi is spoken in a different way, in Pune Marathi is spoken in a different way, and when you go to the Jalgaon side or the other side, you find that there's again another variation of Marathi. So the same language, but with the change of people and with the change of geographical area, the language changed. Then he also wrote on etymology. Etymology means the study of history of words. Here the words history is researched. That is why this particular word we are using. For example, in Hindi, if we are calling water, we are giving the word pani for water, then he will make a deep research on this, that who called it as pani first and why it was called pani first. For example, in your kitchen, if you go, you will find one particular vessel. When your grandmom comes from the village, she will call it by a different name. Your mom will call it by a different name, and maybe after 10 years you will be calling it something else. So same way, how gradually this word changed. One generation called it something else, then that generation, next generation called it something else, and this way the entire meaning and the usage of the word, how it has traveled in the history. Then the grammar, that is using he and she for a boy and girl. In Hindi, aata hai, aati hai, okay, singular, plural, all these things how we use. Then he was also of the firm opinion that when we are writing history and it is our history, we must only write. Others should not write our history because we know it the best. And he made 22 volumes of the Marathancha Itihasachi Sadhne. He wrote a book and he wrote 22 volumes of the book. Now Marathancha means of the Marathas, Itihasachi means of the history, and Sadhane means resources. That means resources of Maratha history. And he wrote very scholarly prefaces of each of the 22 volumes. Now whenever you write a book, in the beginning there is one page where we write the preface. Now preface means we are giving a short introduction about the book, and he had written it very nicely, and in that he has written, history is the all-inclusive image of the past societies. Just one sentence, but it explains it all. It is an image of the past societies, means it has to be written in such a way that when anybody reads that, an image, the picture should come in the mind. So nicely the things have to be explained in detail, and it has to be all inclusive. All inclusive means taking into care all the aspects. We have seen history can be written with considering so many different aspects, so many different areas during that time. He said it should not include only the stories of political images, then the conspiracies. Conspiracies means जो उस समय चाल चलते थे, to defeat each other. cheating each other, and the wars which were done for seizing the power. All these things were done only for taking the power. And he insisted that history should be written only using the authentic documentary source. Just not because this person told or that person told, or my grandmom used to say, my grandfather used to say that this had happened, so I wrote it in a book and I published it. No, you should have the original document with you. There should be something original as a proof. Now this nationalistic historiography, where they started writing good about India and they started criticizing the Britishers, this triggered the independence movement of the Indian people against the British. It's very simple. See, till you don't write, till you don't speak up, a movement doesn't take place. For example, in your school, there is a senior boy who troubles everyone, who troubles all the boys and girls. All are scared of him and all are quiet. All are quiet. Now, suppose on your WhatsApp group, someone, just one of you, posts that today this boy had done this and it's not correct and we must do something against him. Immediately you will find at least 3, 4, 5, 6, you will find your supporters in that. So same thing happened when nationalistic historiography came into picture and the writers started writing about India, good things about India and criticizing the British rule. Then there were many other people who joined them and the national independence movement got a very big boost. Now, there was one book written by Vinayak Damodar Savarkar, freedom fighter of Maharashtra, The Indian War of Independence 1857. 1857 was the year when overall in complete India, people were fighting against the British rule. Earlier what used to happen, one particular king was fighting for his kingdom. After some 2-3 months, you will find somewhere else someone is fighting against the Britishers. But during the 1857, all the leaders throughout India together, they were fighting against the British rule. The nationalistic historiography provided a momentum to the writing of regional histories too. The momentum means speed. When people started writing good about their own country, then there were many other writers who now started writing about their states, about their regions. So they got a good connectivity in their regions too. And because of this, what happened, there were many historians whose attention was now drawn towards the geographic conditions and history of South Indian regions too. Earlier nothing was written about South India, but now South Indian history also was written.